Welcome, Pop-Up College Shop. Today we're going to be reacting to a clip from the Waveform podcast from MKHBD. Sorry if I butchered your name. This is a little snippet they made into 10 minutes called Ford Surrenders to Tesla. Let's go ahead and jump into it.
I think that first, though, we should start with Ford. Ford made some moves.
They did.
Actually, just one move.
Yeah.
They made one move.
A couple of moves.
Yeah. One move that has a couple moves inside of the singular move.
They collabed,
They collabed, yes.
basically. Ford did a collab.
It's like a multi-movement movement.
Sure. A compound movement.
Compound. There we
It's a
go.
compound movement. So Tesla and Ford have collaborated. Basically, what's happening is Ford has realized that Tesla superchargers are really, really good. And instead of contributing to a public network or building their own network, what they're doing is making their cars able to charge on as many Tesla superchargers as possible via several movements. One of those movements is by enabling them in Ford Pass. So you get an adapter, theoretically, I believe, and in Ford Pass, you'll be able to pull up to any number of the enabled, I think, thousands of superchargers when this starts to go live and plug in your Ford EV at a Tesla supercharger. The other move, which I think is
Makes a lot of sense, just because if you're not getting into Tesla, you're very limited, extremely limited. I live in California where there's a lot of these chargers, and I'm like, out of my time of being here for the past I've been here since I was born, but like out of the past like 6 years, the only ones that I've seen that are like accessible to all the third party ones that are non-Tesla is like 3 locations, and like 2 of the 3 of them are malls. So it's very limited to where you could charge these things. Fortunately enough, a lot of new buildings are trying to a lot of new buildings like apartment complexes, housing situations. A lot of like, and half the like, if you're not in a mall, some grocery stores have some chargers in the parking lot, but like majority of them are only Tesla chargers. So you were talking about a second point.
actually way more interesting is starting in 2025, all of Ford's new shipping EVs will have the NACS connector. For those who don't know, that's the North American Charging Standard, I believe it's called, but that's the connector that all of Teslas use in North America. It's basically the charging port from a Tesla.
Tesla chargers, yeah.
So all of the Mach-E's and F-150 Lightnings and whatever other EVs they're making at that point, starting in 2025, will all have the Tesla connector, and they'll be able to plug into a supercharger with no adapter, max speeds. I assume if you have an adapter, you're limiting your speeds. That's a pretty big shift. That's one way of addressing our customers really need more chargers. How do we feel about this?
This just reminds me of this XKCD comic. If you've seen this one, I will read it to the audience.
That's a classic.
Situation. There are 4 competing standards. 14. That's ridiculous. We need to develop one universal standard that covers everyone's use cases. Yeah. Soon. Situation. There are 15 competing standards.
This happens a lot.
Oh, I get that. It's just hard. By no means am I part of any high end chair in any of the automotive fields, but I completely understand.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting though, because in the EV world, there's really 2 ports.
2.5.
if you want to call it.
Yeah.
So, but the big ones are CCS and NACS, and it depends on kind of where you live. What you'll see a lot, if you live in Europe, you basically only see CCS. Teslas all have CCS, etc. In North America, in order to use a Tesla supercharger, you must be driving a Tesla, which uses a different port than all of the rest of the cars in North America. A bunch of other cars using CCS, just Teslas use NACS. And so, so Ford's like, we kind of just want to jump on this supercharger network. I'm sure some money exchanged hands. I don't know the details of how this worked out, but this collab, I think, is a win for Ford EV buyers.
100%.
It's a win for Ford because it makes all of their EVs much more compelling. I think the Mach-E is about as close to a Model Y equivalent as you could possibly get at this point. And F-150 Lightning now is way more road trippable. Like, I could happily road trip being able to Tesla supercharge in an F-150 Lightning. So yeah, it's a win as far as they're concerned. I think you can only consider it an L if you are a Tesla driver who's already experiencing really high wait times or busy superchargers. And that's about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that is the downside on hopping onto an EV. If you don't have a place to charge it at home, you're gonna be in the conga line for people to charge their cars. Um, right now, I still have gas, so I'm not experiencing that issue. At most, it's like a 3 minute wait. So I wait for someone to get out and take the spot. 2 minutes fill up, and I'm out. That is one thing you do lose, but you do save money in the long run. So I've been told. Let's hop into it.
That's the only thing, like, that's the only downside I see of this is, like, I will wait for the day when people are going to be like, I'm mad at Tesla because now all these other cars are at my charger and I'm waiting in long lines. I think on the East Coast, that's not that big of an issue. On the West Coast, there are some, like, pretty long waits. But, like, overall, this is a
West Coast.
huge win. I also think it is really cool because the main announcement was, like, 2025 Ford adapting NACS. But they said within next year, or as early as next year, 12,000 superchargers in US and Canada will have the software integration to allow all the Ford cars, and I'm assuming we get an adapter at that point.
Yeah,
So
12,000.
I just wonder here, anything before next year, will Ford sell the adapter to these people? I'm sure they'll have some sort of software update because
Yeah.
there's no way they're going to leave behind the 2022, 2023 Mach-Es and F-150s.
Yeah, I think all those people get this update as well. Yeah,
For sure.
12,000. It was funny because when we did that video charging the Rivian on the Tesla Supercharger, it was one of like 5 chargers in the US that got enabled with this
Yeah.
dock, and you had to have the Tesla app and have you use the adapter. But yeah, this is specifically like, all right, you've got the Ford, it will work.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
I have mixed feelings about this.
Interesting.
As someone who personally experienced the terrors of CCS road tripping in the Mach-E from Ford,
Yeah, that's right. It was the Mach-E.
and got not enough sleep because of it. That sounds great. I mean, if we had done this road trip and our Mach-E had the Tesla supercharger, we probably would have gotten there at about the same time as you guys.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen that, it's on the studio channel. It's called the
I think we just have
1,000
like
Mile
road.
Race.
I think ours might have just been like road trip vlog for studio channel.
Yeah, we did a road trip between a long range gas car, the longest range Tesla, and the
I'm gonna have to get a video watch.
longest range
Non-Tesla.
at the time,
Non-Tesla,
which
yeah.
was the Mach-E. Brandon and I got there 13 hours later.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Spoiler.
yeah, I feel mixed on this because it's great.
Why? Okay, I'm still gonna watch it though. Like the electric car that I was gonna buy and was gonna get was the first Dodge Charger EV, but then I came to think about it. I'm like, I'll wait for the second model to come out so I could get all the kinks out of the first one and get it fixed in the second one. That's my thought process behind that. But by having the first one, it just don't know.
The supercharger network is already massive, but the US in general is also spending tons of money to expand CCS, and there's been such a long period of time when everyone's been trying to decide, okay, what is the standard? What is the standard? What is the standard? Because if you go to a gas station, sure, there's like diesel, whatever, but it's all the same type of pump. It doesn't really matter like what's on the inside. As long as the connector is the same, that's all that really matters. And having these two competing ones is kind of weird now because Ford, makes the most popular car in the US, like the F-150, right?
Yep.
So if you have like Tesla and Ford that have the Tesla charger, and then you have everyone else on CCS, it's just gonna like create this awkward separation. And then there's the whole thing where in the EU, Tesla has to use CCS. So it just feels like a standards mess.
Yeah, and Europe does their own thing. One thing I do like that Europe does, that actually he brought to my attention, that everyone had all phone providers had to provide a USB-C option. They want a universal charger for all electronics. I do appreciate that because now they're mandated to give little dongles or make custom ones for the Europe versions. So they can't just have proprietary Apple connectors for everything.
And I was kind of hoping that Tesla eventually just switched to CCS and retrofitted all of its superchargers with magic adapters.
Here's the thing about that: the NACS connector is better, and that's the.
It
so
is
obviously,
better. It's so much smaller.
It's
It's so much
smaller,
faster.
thin cable, super fast, and like they've built the whole network. They've spent all those
Yeah.
billions of dollars in the U.S. to like optimize this. We've got 250 kilowatt chargers and that thin cable, plugging it right in, and that's so well done in the U.S. that the only reason they do it in Europe is because they had to.
Yeah.
I'm sure they would love to also do NACS everywhere. So
Do you
it
know
does-
why? Like, I know that Elon was trying to make NACS the standard, and it just
Yeah.
didn't happen. Do you know why it didn't happen?
I don't know exactly. I'd have to look up the details, but I'm pretty sure that they were forced to use CCS.
Because it was called
in Europe.
NACS. Can't use that in Europe.
Can't use that in Europe. Well, even in the U.S., right? Like the Biden administration just put like a ton of money into developing chargers throughout the United States, but I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure it's mostly CCS chargers.
It'll be
It's
CCS.
CC, well, it had to be. I believe in that bill, the charging network had to be able to use more than a single company's worth of electric vehicles, which I think is why we saw that push to the what's the like magic adapter or whatever, like
Magic dock.
the magic dock. So
Yeah.
like this feels like maybe potentially one part of that. I do think one thing here that's a little different.
Definitely want to hear more information about this magic dock. It sounds like just having a universal charger. This sounds great. Is having one spot where any electric car could charge at, and it's not just Tesla branded.
Different and not as bad in terms of standards is like Teslas all come with an adapter for CCS no matter what, right?
No, they did
What?
up
They did?
until
They charge you.
2022.
Now they charge you.
They charge you for
Yeah,
a
it doesn't
CCS
come with it
adapter.
anymore.
Okay, well,
What? God damn it! They're doing the Apple thing.
I guess we're going to turn into this point of are you going to start getting charged for that or is it going to come with your car? Because it does seem like the software enabling is what was blocking CCS from using or non-Tesla chargers from like having some sort of an adapter. Like I don't think there was any hardware difficulties of creating the adapter. I'm sure someone could have done it, but software was limiting it. I don't think adapting both ways is going to be that hard. And like, if we see this magic dock, they're obviously opening it up for more people. So that will be open for other sides. And then also Ford and Teslas can still go use Electrify America or any of those as well.
Yeah. I guess I'm just worried about my mom. You know, how is my mom going to know what to do?
I mean,
Still,
you're not wrong. Yeah. It's totally fair.
That's
Yeah.
my main concern.
Yeah.
So,
I hope they make it really easy. Like with the Rivian, they gave a software update, so now you can see compatible chargers, and they include the Tesla superchargers. But there's still a process of like, well, you have to have the Tesla app and a Tesla account, and then enable it in the Tesla, all that stuff.
Huh? I never knew that. My a buddy of mine has a Rivian. I didn't know they had to go through all that if they didn't use their main one. Oh, but if you want to use it, you have to go through all the steps. Download the app, make an account through it. Oh, well, just want. It's not as simple as just putting your debit or credit card and making sure you have the correct adapter. I guess with these electric cars.
Yeah.
Ideally, they make this easy with software, but that's not really up to them. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Thanks for watching this.
Love the little snippet, guys. You guys keep up the great work. I have a little fucks with it, and it keeps me fresh to what's happening in the electronic sphere. definitely look up to these guys for all their electronic videos. And yeah, if you guys made it this far, please leave a like. And if you enjoy my content and want to watch more of it, please sub, and you'll get notified whenever I do upload. Yeah, let me know what you guys want me to react to down in the comments down below, and take it easy.